just, taking small steps. So it's not being all or nothing. It's not saying you should, becoming a vegetarian or becoming vegan or anything like that. Let's just all take some small steps to reduce the impact that we're having on our bodies, but on the planet as well. And I think there's been a lot of companies who have changed up their packaging, from big plastic canisters to bags, and then you put the product or the powder into a glass container that you reuse. So I love this, and I hope that we're going to see much more to come.
Hello, and welcome to the Art of Living Well podcast. I'm Stephanie May Potter, and I'm here with my co-host, Marnie Marmette.
We created the Art of Living Well podcast to empower you to live your happiest, healthiest, and most authentic life. Each week, we will bring you inspiring and motivating conversations covering health and wellness topics, including fitness, mindset, food, travel, product reviews, and strategies from a variety of experts, including our own bank of knowledge.
We are excited to educate, motivate, and inspire you to change the way you perceive health and discover your art of living well. Get ready to feel inspired.
Happy New Year and welcome to episode 106 of the Art of Living Well podcast. Here we are in January after the holidays, and we hope that you all had a wonderful holiday season. And now we are ready to jump into the new year. Very excited for 2022. And we just want to let you know that our 14-day detox is kicking off on January 9th. So today is January 5th. If you still want to sign up, you'll have to go do that right away. And the link is in our show notes or on our website. We would love to have you join us. And today we are going to be talking about health trends in 2022.
But first, a quick word from our sponsor, Thrive Chiropractic. I was first introduced to Thrive Chiropractic over 5 years ago for kinesiology-based food sensitivity testing. I was so amazed by this non-invasive and inexpensive technique that I took my son to have testing done, which confirmed some of his food sensitivities. Both my son and I now have regular tune-ups, and even my leery husband has felt the immense benefits from receiving chiropractic care, including cupping.
With over 25 years of clinical experience, the doctors at Thrive Chiropractic, located in Minnetonka, Minnesota, combine their passion for wellness with a strong expertise in effective treatment approaches. When you first come to Thrive Chiropractic, the doctors are focused on helping you feel better as soon as possible, and they recognize that one type of treatment or technique does not work for everyone. Your comprehensive exam, personal goals, and individual concerns help the doctors tailor your custom treatment plan for maximum results. Thrive Chiropractic's integrative approach offers holistic and effective healthcare with a full spectrum of complementary products and services, including acupuncture, massage, food sensitivity testing, CBD, and premium supplements.
As a special offer, Thrive Chiropractic would like to invite listeners of our podcast to experience the gift of health with a $25 new patient visit, which includes the initial consultation, a comprehensive exam, any necessary x-rays, and first adjustments. Simply visit the website at www.thrivechiromn.com or call 952-746-5612 and reference the Art of Living Well podcast. When you're seeking effective, non-invasive treatment approaches to support your health goals, let Thrive Chiropractic be your partner in wellness. Call or book online today.
This is one of my very favorite episodes. I think this is the third time we've done this. So much fun to research all the trends that are going to be happening in the new year. And I know Stephanie is probably excited to jump right in here.
Yeah. So, no surprise, the first one we're going to talk about is immunity. And I think this has been something, Marnie, you and I have been talking about since we started the podcast, but especially during the pandemic. And so no surprise, it's going to continue as a trend. Throughout 2022, people are really focused on doing what they can to boost their immunity so that they can stay healthy. Because really right now, with where we are still with the pandemic, the only thing you can really do and control is is your own health. And that's not just your physical health, but your mental health. And so a lot of the items that we're going to talk about today will relate to all those. But, with immunity, it comes down to, eating lots of whole foods, eating a rainbow, and focusing on your gut health, and also, maybe taking some supplements too.
And we're gonna dive into this very deeply on January 20th, because we are going to be hosting an immunity boosting workshop, and we're super excited about it. And we really want to dive into immunity health. And Stephanie mentioned a few things you can do, but we'll dive deep into that. And if you want to sign up, the link will be in our show notes.
Yeah. So we'd love to have you join us. But, one of the big things that you can do when I think about immunity, and I know, people are going to love this right after the holidays, but is reduce the amount of sugar that you're eating, because sugar really feeds the bad bacteria in your gut, which is really, the source of your, immunity, right? A lot of it is in your gut. And so that's one thing that you can do in 2022, in addition to maybe trying to eat more fruits and vegetables. I'd encourage everyone. And, Marnie was talked about the detox just a minute ago. And that's one great way to reduce your sugar cravings, is by doing this functional medicine liver detox. It really is a great way to reset. I know we've all enjoyed ourselves over the holidays, and myself included. I've definitely had more sugar than normal, and that's okay. But now we're ready to reset.
So another health trend for 2022, and this was a health trend last year, but I feel like I'm hearing more and more about it this year, are adaptogens and plant-based, which are basically plant-based substances used to stabilize a physical, chemical, or biological process, which, for an example, would be like stress. Some adaptogens would be, mushrooms or ashwaganda. And there's a lot of other, I don't know if you can think of any off the top of your head, Stephanie.
Well, those are, kind of the big ones, like just herbs and roots, and even ginseng and holy basil. Like, I have a tea that I love that has holy basil in it. And it's actually so funny. I had a friend of mine yesterday message me, and she's going through a very stressful event right now, and asked about what she could be taking, asking about ashwaganda. So this is really an important area. And I love that you can now find these products. Like Marnie and you and I have talked about mushrooms. There's like some great products out there for Sigmatic and other brands that have these mushroom elixirs and mushroom powders, and there's pills and supplements, and even some drinks that you can find that are then non-alcoholic too.
And there's a fantastic movie on Netflix called Fantastic Fungi, that I think does a wonderful job of explaining how mushrooms can have such a big effect on our environment and on our lives. And I'm really excited to see, I know the University of Minnesota is doing some research on mushrooms, and I think there's a big study coming out of Yale. So I'm really excited to see how all of these studies are going to show us what maybe some of us already know, how this plant medicine can help us in ways that we didn't know.
Yeah, I think it's super cool also. So then, one other topic we wanted to discuss, and this is again a continuation from last year, especially with the pandemic, is just virtual health and accessibility, whether it's fitness and being able to work out from home and access trainers and different classes from all around the world, to seeing health coaches and your doctor and other health practitioners virtually now, making certain resources really accessible, where before you had to go and see someone in person, and if you lived on one coast, you couldn't see a practitioner on the other coast. And now it's just making all these different specialists and resources available to all, which I love. And it's helping with, just allowing us more flexibility in our day, whether it's working out from home or scheduling visits and appointments.
Yeah. I mean, maybe you have a 20-minute lunch break and you can do a quick session with a coach. Whereas before, you didn't have the time to go drive somewhere and meet with someone and drive back to work. And So I agree. I think it's amazing. I had a session yesterday with a geneticist and it was all over Zoom. And pre-pandemic, this would have been like an appointment where I would have had to have driven, 25 minutes from my home, pay for parking, have the appointment, drive home. And it would have been like a 3-hour part of my day. And in the meantime, I did it in like, an hour yesterday. So that was kind of amazing.
I think it's great. And the other thing too, when it comes to fitness, is more people are working out outside. And, as much as Marnie, you and I were both, fairly frequent gym goers pre-pandemic, it's really nice to have all these options to work out outside. Now, maybe not so much for us right now as we look and there's still snow on the ground, but we can do other things outside, right? It's a nice option. It's nice to see people walking and running and even doing boot camps in the summer and yoga classes outside. And I hope that will continue for many years to come.
Yeah, because being outside is just so good for your mental health on top of, physically getting that exercise.
It just checks so many boxes, right?
Yeah. So another theme or trend for 2022 is sexual pleasure. And I thought this was interesting when it popped up. It's really going to become not going to become, but it is the trend for the individual to figure out what pleasures them and to realize that that's okay and not to be embarrassed about it and to try and be vocal to your partner, about what your desires are, or if you're pleasuring yourself, figure out what works and what doesn't work. And Stephanie and I are going to have an expert on this topic later on at some point in 2022. And we also have an episode that recently aired, episode 104 with Lizzie Cutler, where she dives into this a little bit as well.
Yes. And I think it's a topic that is not often discussed, but needs to be, and it'll just empower people to take control of their own happiness, as with other areas in your life as well, right?
Absolutely. So another buzzword that I heard that I really liked was skinimalism. And what skinimalism is taking your skincare down to the necessities. So I'm not saying that it shouldn't be still very clean with no toxic chemicals, but maybe you don't need 5 things in your skincare routine. Maybe you just need, your face wash and your lotion or whatever it is, or your moisturizer. So it's really just being more minimalistic in your routine, which I love because I don't like having to do 15 things before I go to bed. No,
I completely agree. If I can get 2 products on my face at night, that's good. That's a good night. And also I think, you can use things like olive oil and coconut oil for many different parts of your skincare routine. I'll use coconut oil on my body at night, especially in the winter when my skin is really dry. So I love that trend too. And the other thing that's kind of, again, continuing, but I think it'll pick up from a momentum standpoint this year is overall sustainability, focused on the environment. I think there was a buzzword that we heard, Marnie. Reducitarianism. So just like reducing the packaging, right? Reducing the amount of waste. Maybe it's also reducing the amount of meat that you purchase
or eat. Maybe instead of eating meat every night, you're eating it twice a week or whatever.
Just, taking small steps. So it's not being all or nothing. It's not saying you should, becoming a vegetarian or becoming vegan or anything like that. Let's just all take some small steps to reduce the impact that we're having on our bodies, but on the planet as well. And I think there's been a lot of companies who have changed up their packaging, from big plastic canisters to bags, and then you put the product or the powder into a glass container that you reuse. So I love this, and I hope that we're going to see much more to come.
Me too. Yeah. Another more serious, but I'm so happy it's coming to light more and more each year is really prioritizing girls' mental and physical well-being and health. I think that young girls and teenage girls and even young adult women really need to be prioritized in that way more. And there's so much out there that like where girls feel like they need to be physically perfect in so many ways. And that's just not the message that we want to portray to our girls. We both have daughters.
Yes. And, you know, a couple of months ago when a lot of stuff came out with social media, certain platforms and the impact that it's having, I'm glad that that's being elevated to the highest levels of those companies, and it's getting the press that it has been, because that's how change is going to happen. And we know, Marnie, I mean, you and I can probably remember looking at the magazines that we would pick up in the stores of how people were looking on the outside and how that impacted us. And now I just can't imagine being a teen in this day and age and seeing that all the time on the feeds. And so I'm glad that this is being addressed, and I'm glad that people are being very vocal, you know, around the world. A lot of professional athletes are talking about their own mental health challenges and struggles. So yes, more to come on this. And we're just glad that this is a topic that we will continue to pursue and talk about regularly on our podcast.
And I want to keep my communication very open with my daughters. And I know you want to do the same, Stephanie. And I think that's key.
Absolutely.
So another one that I need to do a better job of personally is taking a digital detox. And I think that it's so important, so powerful. I have read articles and I've seen different people talking about it and how it's affected them. And I can see where that phone can just be so addicting.
And I would love to do this also. I'm thinking we need to like set a challenge for ourselves this year. But I need some tips like how to practically do it when you have kids, and it's how you communicate, just the basic tactical stuff. Maybe it's deleting all the unnecessary apps from your phone for a certain amount of time. I don't know, but I am game for this as well. And I partially am game because I think I can have boundaries. I've better in recent months or years with having some healthy boundaries, but I want to really set that example for my kids.
I agree. And I would love to be able to like old school it, where
I know.
we're like, maybe I don't know where my kids are for 2 hours and that's okay.
Right. Well, now it's like tracking them. You can track them, especially when you have drivers now. And like our parents were never able to do that.
No. I mean, yeah. So I think we should challenge each other at some point this year to do a digital detox. And maybe some of our listeners can let us know some tips they have. If you've done a digital detox, let us know what worked.
Absolutely. And you know what? Some of it gets down to having like a notebook with you at all times and maybe a book. So if you go somewhere and you have to wait, instead of picking up your phone, you're reading a book. And instead of like using your phone to like, I track my life on my phone, right? But you have a little small notebook with you and you can go back to like the old school way.
Yeah. I mean, I actually usually do take a notebook with me, but a book, I like the idea of a book because in my notebook, I don't want to be sitting there writing to-do lists either. Like,
right. No, that's not enjoyable.
Right. So our last trend, I believe, speaking of notebooks, is like journaling and then manifestation. And I personally have found this to be so valuable. I've done it more over this past year than I've ever done. And I really can see the power of manifestation through writing your words out.
I totally agree. And I go up and down with journaling, but someone just gifted me last week a really cute journal. I can't remember the name of it because I just haven't committed to it yet, but it has all the prompts. And that's what I need personally. I need prompts. Marnie, when I was on the retreat, we were given a journal with all these prompts that were very specific towards our experiences. I filled out that entire journal. I mean, I was like the one at night writing for a good half hour. Every page in that journal is filled out. So that's something that I need. And so I'm excited about starting this new journal. And maybe I'm just going to wait and start in January because it's like kind of busy as we record this episode with the holidays. So if I like it, I will share it with everyone.
That sounds
sometimes it's just like
fantastic.
it's just getting a new journal that works for you that will help
It's the prompt.
light a fire under you. Yeah.
Exactly. Because sometimes it is hard when you're just staring at a blank page, like, oh, what am I going to write about? So
Right.
I love journals that have prompts in them.
Yes. And one thing we didn't mention, I know we talked about immunity, what we wanted to cover is just kind of this new age supplement or new school supplements. We've talked about supplements on this podcast a ton, but really focused on, one, science backed and really forward thinking. So having more ingredients that are really targeted for maximum support and not having to take like a separate vitamin or separate pill for everything that you want to address. But having supplements that will be really all encompassing. And I know we are excited that just shortly after this podcast episode drops, there's going to be kind of a new line of supplements that we'll be sharing and talking more about that is doing just this.
And that are really that you can personalize to your own health goals, which I love. So, if you're focused on your hormone health, maybe there'll be some hormone related supplements, or if you're focused on longevity, you have the basics down, but now you want to think about longevity. There's going to be a whole new line of supplements that we're really excited to share with you in January.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think that's it for today. I mean, there's so many health trends out there, but those were our top favorite. And we are excited to dive into these and explore more throughout 2022. And of course, keep you guys abreast of anything fun and new that we're trying.
And we just wish you, a happy, healthy, stay healthy new year and a wonderful day.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for listening to the Art of Living Well podcast. We are so grateful that you joined us today.
If you enjoyed this episode, please share it with a friend or anyone else you think may benefit from this information. We'd love for you to subscribe to our podcast, leave us a review, and tag the Art of Living Well podcast on social media.
If you want more inspiration in between episodes, you can find us on social media at theartofliving_well on Instagram and Facebook, where we will share snippets from our daily lives and our journey to living well.